Sedinam Tamakloe.
All right, Abusia.
350 cars.
Yeah, mame. Yes, Sedinam Tamakloe. Abusia. It is a less say. Abrana or ye CEO or a maslog no. Utumi ekoto cars and the buses 350. Yes, makoma ko 350. Nabusia. Almost say cars we na ego. National Security ni na den say. Black Rasta e who details e dia ba na who videos so dia busia wa produce ni na enya asempetoa 350 cars abusia left to rot yanko na yentie enkomo no FM free eye Black Rasta ho yes yentie ni na yenhwe video no na abusia orebe ho papa abusia orebe ho mama yenhwe video na yentie enkomo a ewo video no na yembo mode asebeche ya adwe comment section na ha era so aye be media giche be se wase ene dedi connect channel so be se wase be subscribe like na wa bo anso ahia for person be tie no anya bi eti mama yenko na yentie adokranti a cars we aka ho yes reasons are cars we atumi aka wo ma yentie ni na masisi a yeda masi
Sedinam Tamakloe 350 cars left to rot at National Security. Hey, are you aware that somewhere in 2016, Sedinam Tamakloe signed a certain contract to procure 350 cars? And when those cars came, it was said that they were overpriced and they were supposed to be for GPRT. And the TUC rejected them because they had a company they could have procured this cheaper from. And those cars were left right there at the National Security to rot under the vagaries of the weather. And Sedinam Tamakloe later had to suffer for this. Let us go into the dossier and get a proper understanding of this. But before then, how was it reported by Joy News? It was reported as investigated by Manasseh Awuni Azure. Watch this.
In our very first story, Joy News Investigations has revealed government in 2016 purchased 350 vehicles for onward distribution to transport operators at 18 million cedis more than it would have cost if the same vehicles were bought from the showroom. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, which was to receive the vehicles for redistribution to its members, rejected the vehicles, citing the cost at which it was being offered to them. Manasseh Azure Awuni spent the last 7 months investigating how various vehicles procured by the state have been grounded. In the first of the series titled Grounded Wheels, Manasseh delves into the reason the Maslog vehicles have been at the mercy of the weather for more than 2 years now.
In the National Security Yard behind the Accra International Conference Center, 350 vehicles procured by the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslog, are packed with some of the saloon cars completely covered with overgrown weeds. The vehicles are made up of 133-seater Isuzu buses, 100 Chevy Sparklight saloon cars, and 150 Chevy Aveo saloon cars. Maslog procured these vehicles in 2016 for the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, but the GPRTU rejected them. The Chief Executive Officer of Maslog, Stephen Amwa, says the Transport Union rejected the vehicles because they are overpriced.
If you look at the prices and compare that to market averages, the prices were outrageous because those trotro buses and commercial vehicle drivers have their turnovers, the sales they make a day, and for that matter, any car they procure for that purpose should be able to work in that capacity and give them the sales they need to be able to break even.
Joy News, as part of this investigation, went to the supplier of the vehicles, Mac Autos and Spare Parts Ghana Limited, for quotations in August 2018, 2 years after the company sold the vehicles to Maslog. we found that the 2016 prices of the vehicles are lower than the 2018 prices, but our investigation revealed that the cost at which the company sold the vehicles to Maslock in 2016 is far higher than the cost at which it sold to the general public in 2018. For instance, Ghana sold the 33-seater Isuzu bus to the general public in 2018 at $79,000, but sold to Maslock in 2016 at $107,000, a difference of $28,000 per bus. The company sold the Chevy Sparklight saloon cars in 2018 at $9,000, but sold to Maslock at $12,500. In 2018, Mack had stopped selling Chevy Aveo saloon cars, but an August 2017 invoice from the company which Joy News obtained as part of this investigation caused the price of each Chevy Aveo vehicle at $14,000. However, the company supplied each of the 150 vehicles to Maslock at $18,000. In all, the cost of the vehicles sold to Maslock is higher than the market price of the vehicles by at least $3,750,000 or 18,375,000 Ghana cedis. Joy News made several attempts to speak to the CEO of Maslock, who signed the contract at the time, Sedinam Tamakloe, but could not get her to comment. When Joy News wrote to Ghana for a response, the company denied any wrongdoing. In a letter to Joy News, Ghana said,
"The reasonable difference in prices of the vehicles sold to Maslock and the prices sold to the general public was due to the fact that it was not paid upfront in cash, but over a period of 2 years. As such, an interest was put on the price, as is custom in car purchases."
Stephen Amwa believes the amount put on contracts in Ghana are generally too high.
I know all over the world businesses, they have lobbying fee. So you might have thought of some small margin to manage the transactions that went on. Even America, they have lobbying fee. Whether it's wrong or right, I don't know. But a situation where just by observation, amounts that are added, sometimes when you think about it, you ask yourself, so do we have mosques and churches in Ghana, like buildings? I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm not perfect, bro. I'm not an angel. But I think what is really destroying Ghana is corruption. There's nothing else. Whether NDC, CPP, we have good people who are learned. But why? It's corruption. Why? It's corruption.
Joy News investigation revealed more anomalies with this contract beyond the prices. We secured a record of all the vehicles imported by Ghana from January 2016 to December 2017. We also secured details of all the vehicles cleared by the company for which duty was paid. When the details of the vehicles supplied to Maslock were searched from the vehicles cleared, they were not found. Our checks with the Ghana Revenue Authority confirmed that the company did not pay duty on the vehicles it supplied to Maslock. According to the GRA, duty on the 350 vehicles amounted to 10,500,000 Ghana cedis. Further investigations revealed that the Ministry of Finance had written to waive the duty for the company pending a parliamentary approval, which did not happen. Our investigation, however, revealed the company was not entitled to a duty waiver according to the terms of the contract. Article 32 of the contract states, and I quote, "A supplier shall be entirely responsible for all taxes, duties, licenses, fees, etc. incurred until the delivery of the contracted goods to the final destination." End of quote. GPRTU executive told Joy News the union had its own preference, but Maslock insisted on Ghana. Besides, Maslock did not discuss the prices or sign any contract with them before importing the 350 vehicles. The procurement specialist, Kobina Atabedu, says government committed a series of anomalies in the transaction.
My understanding of this is that GPRTU said that they want government to assist them to acquire vehicles. GPRTU had their own preference of vehicles they want. So that is the specification. How come government decided that we are going to go to Mac and that is what we will give you? That is a red flag for me. Number two, why should it be a sole source or a single source? And where is the approval? Did they get PPA to do an approval for that single source? Now, if PPA did an approval for that single source, what kind of due diligence did they do before they decided to give them the approval? Because if I look at the analysis here, they quoted in cedi. The contract was given out in Ghana cedi. We have ended up paying in USD as against the contract. That itself is a flaw on government's part.
He also commented on the value of the vehicles.
When a vehicle drives out of the showroom, as soon as it comes out of the showroom, 20% of the vehicle has depreciated. It's gone. The value is gone. So if we are to sell those cars today, we will have lost money. Because by accounting standards, you can depreciate a car over a maximum of 5 years and a minimum of 3 years. So if we take the maximum, it means every year 20% of the value of the car is gone. So as soon as the car drove out of the showroom, so if you buy a car today and you take it back the next day and say, I want my money back, they'll give you your money minus 20%. So we've put those cars there, dumped them in the sun.
Since 2016.
Since 2016. So 2016, 2017, 2018, now we are in 2019, 4 years. The value of those cars, book.
The fate of the vehicles is not known. What is known is that irrespective of how the vehicles are disposed of, the state will have to sell them at a lower price than it bought them. For Joy News, Manasseh Azure Arena reporting.
This is Manasseh Awini Azure reporting for Joy News. Now, my brother, my sister, this was what happened. Let us break it down. Come here. Run the dossier. Watch this. The procurement of 350 vehicles by the Microfinance and Small Loans Limited, Maslock, under the former CEO, Sedinam Tamakloe, resulted in a major scandal when the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, rejected them due to highly inflated prices. The controversy surrounding these vehicles formed part of a major state prosecution against Tamakloe, which recently culminated in her acquittal by the Ghana Court of Appeal on the 30th of July, 2026. Now, the core reason for the rejection was extreme overpricing. For instance, each of the 100 buses included in the 350 vehicle batch was allegedly overpriced by $28,000, as we heard in that documentary. The GPRTU had previously proposed a cheaper alternative supplier for the fleet. Management under Tamakloe rejected the union's suggestion and went ahead with the state procurement. Now, because the GPRTU refused to take ownership of the overpriced fleet, the vehicles were left to deteriorate in storage yards for years. Now, the state eventually had to auction them off at highly and heavily discounted prices to mitigate total loss. Investigative reports indicated that the vehicles were physically delivered before any formal supply contracts were legally signed. Now, watch this. Now, this vehicle deal was part of 78 counts of corruption, stealing, money laundering, and causing financial loss to the state, leveled against Tamakloe starting in 2019. She was tried in absentia after traveling abroad for medical reasons and was initially sentenced to 10 years in prison with hard labor. Now, from the onset, Tamakloe strongly denied all allegations. According to statements published on Ghana Web, she called the inflation claims baseless and politically motivated attempts to tarnish her reputation. But this was what happened to her. Now she's been acquitted. So what has happened to those buses? Do you have an idea? They were rejected. And when they were rejected, they were left in storage yards. The entire batch consisting of 133-seater Isuzu buses and 100 Chevrolet Sparklight saloon cars and 150 Chevrolet Aveo saloon cars was parked at the National Security Yard behind the Accra International Conference Center. Because of ongoing price disputes and legal gridlocks, the vehicles sat exposed to the harsh tropical weather for multiple years. This caused batteries to die, tires to deflate, and body parts to rust. My brother, my sister, and in 2019, Maslock and the Ministry of Finance attempted to audit and structurally scale down the prices to make them affordable enough for the GPRTU to reconsider. However, these efforts stalled because the initial procurement cost was already fixed so high above market averages. So what happened? To stop the vehicles from rotting completely into total financial losses, the government ultimately stepped in and auctioned them off to the public at heavily discounted prices. Because they had deteriorated in storage and were sold off cheaply, the state recovered only a fraction of the millions of dollars originally spent to procure them, cementing the deal as a major financial loss to the state. Dash. Did you hear that? Major financial loss to the state. We spent millions to procure these cars. GPRTU said no, and thanks to GPRTU, they refused the looting. They didn't pay customs duty. They brought them, overpriced them, and said because they were not paying everything outright, the price had to go a little up. 28,000 American dollars overpriced for the buses. They sold them out cheaply. That was what happened to the buses. But we are told that the finance minister at the time, Ken Oforiatta, was the one who paid for this. And it was endorsed by Sticker and the new Maslock people, even though it was signed by Sedinam Tamakloe. Sticker, were told, went to court as a witness, and in cross-examination, he gave answers as to it was okay, everything was okay, as commentators are holding around. We're going to corner him one of these days and speak to him in depth about what he said in court and what he told Manasseh in 2019. Were they two different things? Or did they realize that later? Well, Ghana lost a lot of money because of stealing and corruption. Is the Black Pot, aka Kukushonemo. And here we speak truth to power.